What's up, 7th grade? Mr. Agnos here. This video is for homework 4-6, and we're going to be finding the distance between numbers on a number line. So let's take a look at a little example they give us to start off with. Here we have a family of runners, and it says they position themselves near the starting line to make the race fair. So I guess in this family, some of the runners are faster than others, and so some are given a head start, and some have to start behind the starting line. So here's our starting line right here. And notice that they say the starting line is at 0 feet. And it says, which runner has the greatest head start over another runner? All right, let's start with that. Well, we got little Junior here out in front, and if it says he's 2 feet ahead. So the distance from the starting line to Junior is 2 feet. And if we look, we got, I'm going to assume this is Dad, way back there. And it says he's 4 feet back. So again, starting at the starting line, if I go back, that distance is going to be 4 feet. So what they're asking us to find here is, well, what is the distance between Junior here way out in front and Dad way here in the back? Well, you can see my arrows here. I'm just going to add the length of these two arrows together, right? I have 2 feet and 4 feet. So the total distance, the actual distance from Dad way in the back, right here, to Junior way in the front is 6 feet. So that's the basic idea. We're going to be looking at different things and their relationship to one another in terms of how far apart they are. And we're always going to have some reference point, like the ground or sea level, something like that, to get us started. Okay, so I'm going to dive into the homework and take a look at a couple of problems. All right, so we don't have a family of runners. We just have two numbers on a number line. And it says, find the distance between 1.1 and 7.2 on the number line. So I'm a very visual person, so I like to actually draw these problems out. So here's a number line. I need to include these numbers, so I'll put 0 over here. And then I'll just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that should be enough of the number line to cover those numbers. And the first number that I want to find is 1.1. Okay, well here's 1, so I don't know, 1.1 is about right there. And the second number we need to find is 7.2. So here's 5, 6, 7, so 7.2 is somewhere around there. Right there. Okay. So one way to think about this is, hey, 1.1, well, that's the distance of this dot from 0, right? So this arrow represents a distance of 1.1. And 7.2, well, that means it's 7.2 away from 0. So that is this distance right here. And what this question is asking us to find is the distance between the two numbers, right? This represented by this orange arrow. We don't know what that is. All right, so we need to figure out what this is. So I think you guys can see pretty clearly here. Well, the blue arrow goes all the way from 0 to here. So if we just subtract off the 1.1, the part that is remaining, this part right here, is the distance between these two numbers. So really this problem just comes down to 7.2 minus, that's the big blue arrow, right? Maybe I should write that in blue. That's the blue arrow minus the length of that pink arrow, and that'll give us the distance from one to the other. So I took the blue arrow, I subtracted the pink arrow, and that's going to give me this orange distance in between. Don't forget to make sure your decimals are lined up. 2 minus 1 is 1, 7 minus 1 is 6. So this distance right here is 6.1. That's how far it is from my pink dot to my blue dot. Got it. Okay, that was sort of a straightforward, boring example with numbers. For me, doing a little picture like this really helps, and that took like a minute. So it doesn't take that long to make a little picture. And the more you draw little pictures like this, the better you get, and the faster you get at drawing. All right, so number 2 has to do with airplanes, but believe it or not, it's really exactly the same problem as number 1. It's just now we have a story to go along with it. Suppose an airplane is flying 14,000 feet above the ground. Another airplane is directly above at 31,000 feet above the ground. How far apart are the airplanes? So the first thing I'm going to do is draw the ground. Here's the ground. And I'll even write that it's the ground, and the ground is at 0 feet, right? It's kind of our starting point. So I'll even put a little 0 feet over here. And we have one airplane flying at 14,000 feet. So I'll draw one arrow, and then I'm going to draw an airplane. You guys will see that I'm an amazing artist. So here's one airplane. There it is. There's the little front of it. And this arrow right here is 14,000. Okay, so this airplane, that's actually pretty low for like a commercial airliner. We have another airplane which is flying at 31,000 feet. So it's much higher. So it's going to be somewhere way up here. So there's my 31,000. And I'll go ahead and draw that airplane as well. Now 31,000, oh boy, that's not my best airplane ever. I'm kind of rushing here. There's that airplane. This is a much more realistic height for like a passenger jet. All right, how far apart are the airplanes? So what they're asking us to find is the distance from this airplane to this airplane. So they want to find this orange distance right here. And again, I think you guys can see that, hey, the green arrow goes all the way from 0 to 31,000. And so if we just subtract off the 14,000 feet here, if I just subtract off this portion, it's going to leave me with the distance between the two planes. So I'm just going to do the 31,000 minus the 14,000. And if I subtract correctly here, I believe I'm going to get 17,000 feet. So these planes are 17,000 feet. I'm going to put 17K. 17,000 feet apart. So I think you can see that really it's the same as the other problem. It's just now we have a little context, a little story to go with it. And again, I really recommend drawing pictures. For me, to be able to see it, it makes so much more sense. The airplanes are 17,000 feet apart. Little side note, if you happen to get the exact same numbers as I do on these, please hit similar question. You're not gonna learn anything by just typing in the answer I got and moving on. All right, I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna let you guys sort of struggle with the rest. This one's a little different. It says find the distance between negative 353 and 173 on the number line. So it may not look like it, but this problem is actually really similar to the very first problem I started off with, the runners in the race. I'm going to go ahead and make a number line. I'm going to put 0 right here. Now, when I'm making a number line here, you don't have to be super accurate, right? I don't have to make 353 lines and 173 lines. I'm going to go just by hundreds here. So I'm going to say this is 100. I'm just trying to give myself a little visual aid. There's 200. On this side, there's negative 100. There's negative 200. There's negative 300. And I probably need a little bit more just to make it look right. Okay. And I'll put negative 400 all the way here. Okay, so negative 353. Well, here's negative 300. So negative 353 is going to be somewhere around there. And again, this is what I mean. You don't have to be exactly accurate. This is a visual aid. It's definitely between negative 300 and negative 400. And 173 is somewhere around here. All right, it's a little closer to 200 than to 100. And so think back to that runner problem. This 173 right here, that's like the little kid that was given the head start. And this negative 353, that's like the dad that was starting way back, right? So all I need to do is add together the length of these two arrows, right? This arrow right here is 353 units long. It's just sort of in the negative direction. We don't measure distance in negatives, right? We don't say, hey, I'm going to drive 5 miles to my friend's house and then negative 5 miles back to my house, right? Distance is always measured in positive numbers. So the length of this pink arrow right here is just 353 units, and the length of the blue is the 173. So if I want to find the total distance between these 2 points, right, starting here and going all the way to here, I'm just going to add those two together, right? This is the distance from negative 353 to 0, and this is the distance from 173 to 0. So over here, I'll just add the 353 plus 173. 3 plus 3 is 6, 5 plus 7 is 12, carry the 1, 526. So the distance all the way from this dot to this dot is 526 units. And again, we don't ever measure distance in negative numbers. Got it. Okay, I find drawing those little pictures really helpful. It doesn't take that long. You know, in the beginning, the first couple times you do it, yeah, it might take a little longer, but the more you do it, you're going to be able to draw those really quick, and it's really nice to have that visual to look at, right, versus just numbers spinning around in your head. Okay, hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Please ask me questions in class, and I'll see you guys soon.